Welcome back to Free Media. I'm Amber Duke.
And I'm Robby Soave. CNN admitted it was duped by a man it dramatically portrayed as a Syrian prisoner, only to later discover he was Salama Mohammad Salama, a former Assad regime intelligence officer. Oopsies!
That's right. After widely airing Clarissa Ward's report, the network quietly added a note acknowledging the blunder, with Clarissa Ward posting on X, "We can confirm the real identity of the man from our story last Wednesday as Salama Mohammad Salama." Here's what CNN initially aired.
He tells the fighter he's from the city of Homs and has been in the cell for 3 months.
Okay, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay.
He clutches my arm tightly with both hands.
Okay. Does anyone have any water? Water. My. Okay, it's water. It's water. Okay. Okay. Okay, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay.
Oh my God,
can't believe
this is
that
so
actually aired.
funny. So, to clarify again, that guy was not a prisoner of the Assad regime who'd been locked away for months. He himself worked for the Assad regime. He gave them a fake name there. He was not like having water for the first time in weeks or seeing the sun for the first time in years. He's some very corrupt sounding official. That's the allegations against him from Verify Sci, this independent Syrian fact-checking news site, which that could need additional verification. But he's accused of being a very corrupt Assad official.
This is insane. So I was in Zurich last week with my husband for a Global Liberty Institute conference, and there weren't very many channels on the TV in English. We would get Euronews, ITV, and CNN International. So we were watching live, I think, when this moment happened.
When it aired.
Clarissa Ward goes into this prison, and literally the guy is under like a wool blanket in the middle of the room. Like, it's very obvious there's a person under there. He's not in a cell. From the get-go, it's very weird. She goes, "Is someone there?" And this guy like pops out from under the blanket, and she takes him outside, and as they leave the prison, he looks up and he goes, "Oh my God, light." Like, it's so insanely dramatic.
With like his fake beard starting to come up. No, I don't think the beard was fake, but he was doing an act.
It was obvious, and my husband and I were watching this, and we were actually packing to come home, and the entire time we were packing, we were putting on fake British accents and making fun of this whole sham because it was so obvious. Like, Clarissa Ward rescues Syrian prisoner. And sure enough, like hours later on our way home, we found out that he was indeed part of the Assad regime.
To your point, other people I know, some colleagues of mine here at Reason Magazine from the get-go, just like behind closed doors, were like, "Oh, I don't think this is gonna end up being real." But Jake Tapper showed it and then celebrated Clarissa Ward's reporting. And look, if it had been, it didn't air as live. It's not like they were live when it aired. If it had been live and then, it's a little bit hard. She doesn't speak the language. She's relying on what a translator says. I could see accidentally doing this, but it wasn't live. So they had time to try to verify the man's identity before it got shown on CNN. And they just, or to, think through it, or like think through some of the, well, wait, why was he here? Why doesn't he look like he's been held prisoner for a long time? That's what people said on social media, including someone who, not trying to make excuses for the Assad regime. The Assad regime was brutal and held all sorts of people unfair detention. Someone who had been held by the Assad regime saying, that's not what you look like when you've been held prisoner by Assad for months.
It just seems so obvious, and Clarissa Ward was like so excited to rescue this man that she just fell for the whole thing hook, line, and sinker. And it's not super surprising because people have accused her of essentially being a stenographer for U.S. intelligence. There was another sort of goofy moment where she was reporting on the Israel-Hamas war, and she was down in a bunker or in a ditch as missiles were flying overhead. And she's like, has her voice real low, and she's like, okay, we're just gonna wait here until the missiles pass. And then people who were in the area were like going about their day because the missiles were actually like 10 miles away or something as she like climbs out of this ditch.
It's like the equivalent of the hurricane reporter being like,
Right.
I'm drowning, and then you have people
Someone just
walking
walks by.
behind.
It's just incredible.
Yeah, which is to say there's nothing particularly unique to her about what you just described. This is a hallmark of not just national security reporters, but I would say more so normal pundits who get put into national security situations, your Brian Williams type people who are like, oh, the danger we were in, oh, the danger, and we caught a fish that was this big, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and she's been sort of heralded as like the national security reporter for CNN for quite some time, and has been lauded for her bravery and her amazing ability to report on the ground. And
this is a pretty serious black eye in that case.
It is, and I would say, you know, when you're in these types of situations, I've obviously never reported on war, but I would like to think I'd be a little bit skeptical considering you're in the middle of a civil war that has resulted in a coup. People are obviously going to try to pass themselves off as members of the winning team, which is what this guy was doing here. She just went in totally like open-minded about everything this guy was saying, despite all of the alarm bells that would have been obvious to someone who had a modicum of skepticism.
Right, and she was ostensibly looking for Austin Tice, this journalist who was kidnapped by Syrians like over a decade ago and is missing, and I think is overwhelmingly likely, unfortunately, to be dead. I hope they find him alive somewhere. That would be truly miraculous, but I doubt that's going to come to pass.
Yeah, and they did find another American who they didn't realize actually was in Syria during this process as well.
Yeah. More free media right after this.